Welcome
to Greenlight Studio.
Obsession.
You may recognize these clothes, and that's because it's the same day, just a few hours later, but that don't matter.
If you've seen our favorite films video, which you should.
You should watch it. But
all right, let's get on this freaking movie. Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to, really quick, I would like to say, we're going to do this in two parts. The first part will be spoiler-free. We're just going to give some brief thoughts.
I think we're going to end that with a star rating.
Yeah. And we'll give a timestamp on where to skip to.
Maybe we'll split it into chapters.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into some spoiler thoughts.
Then we're going to get really spoilery. And when I say really, I mean really. I mean, I was planning on getting really spoilery.
We're really getting into the nitty-gritty. So
Yeah.
this first part's going to be spoiler-free, and don't worry, you'll get a warning.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the movie, watch this part.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, you should watch the movie. It's really good. Anyway, I'm going to get into some spoiler-free thoughts here.
All right, spoiler-free thoughts of Obsession.
Amazing.
Really, really good.
Like, gnarly.
So gnarly, so gross.
And so well acted. It's actually insane.
I think the acting might be the biggest takeaway.
I think so too.
The lead, Bear, which I couldn't see his full name.
It was Baron.
Baron, okay.
Yeah.
It was, he did so good. Like,
He
it
did.
was so convincing the entire time. The beginning, he made himself very likable right out of the gate. You were already very compelled by him. But then later, he sells the fear and the trapped in his situation. He sells that really, really well.
Yeah. And, I mean, I would be remiss not to mention the lead actress, who I'm very sorry. I do not know her name. I completely forgot it.
I don't know any of the actors' names.
But, really quick thoughts. I would like to say, the fact that these, indie movies are getting some of the best actors in the game for basically no budget is kind of insane. I mean,
right, I haven't seen any of these actors in anything.
I think a lot of them, this is their first movie.
And you would not believe that.
I mean, I would. Yeah.
It is seriously like,
This is probably one of the consistently best acted movies I've seen in a very long time.
I would put these two lead performances as the best of the year so far.
Oh, 100%.
I think like Robert Pattinson.
They're inevitably going to be overlooked at the Oscars, but they shouldn't be.
Robert Pattinson and Zendaya were really good, but this is like something else. This is like, especially that lead actress. I gotta say, she's the highlight.
Yeah. I gotta learn her name.
Yeah. She you only see her in the beginning for so much, but after the wish happens, which that's not a spoiler. It's in the first trailer. You know there's a wish. But she gives you just enough in the beginning so that after the wish happens, there's a stark contrast immediately in her behavior. And she starts subtle, but you can tell something's wrong, and you're already put off,
And this is one of those movies that just hits you like a train. And I'm not going to say what it is, but in the first 10, 15 minutes, you're already on edge. And, from watching the trailers, I had a general idea of what the movie was going to be like. And I feel like I was kind of wrong. Like, I think the trailers did a good job of hiding what the movie needed to hide for a lot of the scares to still be effective. Because I'll tell you what, from the trailers, I thought it looked really good, but I didn't think it looked particularly, scary. But it was really, this was a really scary movie, in my opinion.
Yes, the scares were really effective. And as it goes on, it just gets more dreadful and more intense. I said this in our out of theater reaction, but palms were extremely sweaty.
Mine are still sweaty.
I was holding back breath. By the end I felt sick to my stomach. I really did feel sick to my stomach.
There were a few times where I legitimately had to cover my mouth because I was gasping. And I think that's a reaction that I've only ever seen in cartoons. And I did it during Obsession.
My jaw did drop. My jaw did drop.
I think my
two
jaw
or
dropped,
three times.
I was gonna say probably 2 or 3 times for me too. I was just so incredibly impressed, and I kind of wrote a little bit about this in my Letterboxd review, which you should definitely follow me on Letterboxd. But we are witnessing a new era of horror, and I am totally here for it. This whole YouTuber making horror movies thing, it's awesome, and for the most part, they have been hitting on every single note.
I mean, Bring Her Back, Obsession, Return to Sender.
If you watch my top 25 movies, you would know Bring Her Back was on my top 25.
That is true.
Yeah. We're seeing The Backroom soon. This movie was amazing. Curry Barker, he is incredibly talented. And this movie, we talk a lot about the performances and the substance of the movie itself. Directorially, this movie was beyond impressive. There was foreshadowing in shots. just shots, and I think that's something that's really difficult to do.
Things really come full circle in a way that doesn't feel contrived at all. You know, it's and the way that it looks is really good too. You know, I mean, your mind's not gonna be blown with any like beautiful shots, but it's got a nice filmy look to it.
Yeah.
It's the lighting is really good.
The lighting was
There's
really
a lot of depth to it. The way that they
use it very creatively.
yes, the shadows on the lead actress's face in certain scenes where she's in the dark really help to build the suspense.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like spoiler free, like that's about all I can say. Like, other than go watch this movie,
See the movie. I think it only gets better as it goes along. You know, there's something. It's really good at the start. Because not only do they sell the titular obsession later, but even before the wish, right? The guy has the obsession with the girl that he likes, and that is sold really well too. And it's so hard to watch because it's so awkward.
Yeah,
it's already scary right there. That's a horror movie in and of itself. But then something happens. I'll get into what that something is in the spoilers, and then I'm locked in. Yeah. I'm locked in. And
I mean, this movie flew by.
Yes, that's another thing. Pacing was incredible.
Yeah, it was a 105-minute movie. It felt like it was like 80 or less than that even. Like this, if you told me that this was like a long-ish short film, like an hour long, I might believe you. Like,
yeah,
I thought the runtime just flew by. Like, honestly, I did not think the final sequence was the final sequence.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were getting to that final sequence, and I could start to feel that it was that final sequence. I was like, wow, is this the end? Because it does not feel like it. I never wanted to check what time it was once.
I do that all the time, and I did not check my watch a single time during this movie.
So, if you haven't seen Obsession, which it came out today, so if you're watching it today, you probably have not.
Yeah. Get to your theater and watch Obsession.
Do it now because you want to see this in a packed theater. You want to see this before you can get spoilers. You want to see it.
You want to support in a giant horror crowd, directors, which I am all for. As I said, I love this new wave of horror. I mean, it's very inspiring. It's very inspiring.
And Curry Barker, right?
Yeah,
he got hired already to do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
reboot
with A24.
Super exciting.
It's really exciting. It's really cool because this movie hadn't even wide release yet when that happened. And they already knew. And that I'm really excited for.
This movie deserves every single bit of its 4.2 star rating, and I think it deserves a little more.
And it's just really cool that this theater was packed.
Yeah.
And that there was reactions because it shows that because they marketed it well, there is a crowd for this. And people want to see well-made horror movies. And if you want to see well-made horror movies,
watch Return to Sender and Obsession.
All right, so I think now we're gonna get into our star rating.
I want to do something fun. I want to do a star prediction.
Okay.
I think, Luke.
Yeah.
You took away from Obsession a 4.5 star rating.
Okay, Ollie. I think based off of the way that you've been acting, and I know you well enough. I think you gave this a 5 star.
Okay. And I was correct, right?
I think I'm gonna go with 4. It's a high 4.
Really?
But I think that, I was just thinking about other movies, right? I saw Bone Temple, and I think it's about on that level. And I gave Bone Temple 4. So
okay.
It's also not exactly my genre. I mean, you can watch top 25 films.
You can.
And you can see, this isn't exactly the movie that caters towards me. But if we were basing this off a horror movie, right? If I was rating it as a horror movie, I would give it 5 stars, if that makes sense.
I gave it 5 stars. I was beyond impressed. And I'm also easier to please. I would like to say that outright. I've watched 1,350 less movies, at least on Letterboxd. But I'm a sucker for good horror, and that was great horror.
All right, so
that was the end of the spoiler-free section.
So now we're gonna get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie,
go watch it. And
get off. When I
say spoilers, video. I don't mean we're gonna tiptoe. No, we're going full head.
We're diving. We're diving.
Spoilers.
So spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. All right, you can go first.
So I would like to say outright. So the first thing, and I told Luke before we walked in the movie, there was something I knew. I knew that they had to remove like 6 head smashes, or else it would get an NC-17 rating. And I cannot imagine there being 6 more head smashes in that head smash scene.
I don't even know how there could be more head smashes.
My goodness, that was probably the best head smash scene I've ever seen. And
that's oddly specific, but yeah, it is. It's.
And it was shocking.
It was done so well. I mean, that entire scene, I barely breathed because you had right before that where you thought she woke up, and I mean, this is going to be all over the place because we're just starting with this scene, but and you can hear the real Nikki calling out, and
I forgot. Honestly, I forgot about that. That was awesome.
Extremely disturbing.
Yeah.
And then the entire scene where he's talking with Sarah in the car, like it's a completely normal conversation. It's a completely normal scene, but for some reason something freaked up is about to happen, and you're like, oh, just get to it because it's dreadful. It's dreadful to have to sit through it because you know something bad's gonna happen. But when it does happen, it's still shocking.
And the dialogue, like, I knew that in the end, Baron, at the very least, wouldn't win that way. But, like, part of me was still rooting for him in that scene. As much as I disagreed with his actions, and we can get into that later, I still did kind of find myself rooting for him. Because I think it was a situation that I think if I'm not saying myself, I'm not a weirdo, but I do think it's a semi-realistic experience. Like, you get a wish and you wish for someone to love you. Like, I think that is something that a lot of people would wish for.
Yeah, I think this movie, it does a good job of, you're able to put yourself in this situation because a lot of horror movies, they'll go a little crazy with the decision making. This movie, and part of that is the directing and the way that they shoot it and sound design and everything, but you're really able to put yourself in this guy's shoes.
Yeah. And another thing that I took away, and I think the characters' decisions were overall very logical. I think a lot of people might disagree with that, and the reason why is just, I do feel like people will say, well, why didn't he just take her to a hospital or whatever? I think his reasoning makes sense. Like, he didn't want to reveal, like, oh, this isn't real love, I just wished for it. I think it's a very selfish reason, but I think it makes sense. Like, I think all of the characters' decisions made sense.
Well, they also, like, show that she's such a wild card and she's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like, if he said, I'm going to bring you to the hospital, she's going to, like, kill one of his friends, kill him, kill herself.
Yeah.
There'd be no way he could get her in the car and bring her to the hospital. I mean, you saw that one scene when she, shoved a bottle in her face, right? Or whatever. Like, wasn't he not able to get her to go inside the hospital?
Is that what happened? I can't remember why. She just, like, started dancing outside the car or something.
Right. So,
yeah.
like, it's good because it's a situation where there really is no way out of it. So you can't be like, oh, well, why didn't they just do that? Because there's nothing. I wouldn't be able to handle it better. I wouldn't.
And I'll let you take the floor after this, but that scene of her in the corner in the bedroom was one of the scariest horror sequences I've ever seen. And that, along with the, like, her walking in reverse in that one part. I don't know. I do not remember the movie, but I remember I've seen, like, video essays on, like, the scariest scene in all of horror, and it's like the one of the ghost girl, like, walking towards the guy. It's like a Japanese movie, I think. I completely am blanking on what the movie is.
The Grunge?
No. It's like he's in like an abandoned apartment building. I'm sure someone out there gets this reference.
Drop it in the comments.
But I got very much vibes from that unnamed movie from that, because the way she moved was, like, so unnatural. It made me so uncomfortable. And
I don't know how much of that was effects, but I'm willing to believe that was her stellar performance.
Yeah.
That was doing those body movements and also the facial expressions that she did.
Oh, yeah.
Really, 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 really good.
Really, really good. I mean, like, when I say that was, like, one of the best performances I've seen, I really do mean it. Like she knocked my socks off.
The scene where they're in the restaurant and he finds out that her dad does not have cancer. The movie hasn't even, like, touched its insanity yet, but it's still so tense because of her performance. That's all her. I mean, not all her. There's a director, but that's mostly her, right? Because of the facial expressions and the way that she uses her voice and everything like that is it sells it.
Yeah,
it sells it.
I don't know what's a standout moment for you. Like, I feel like
I would say
good or bad.
The corner scene where she's in the corner.
Yeah.
And any scene really involving a bed, once it gets crazy, like every scene where it was like where they were asleep, you were just so on edge because they shot the room in a way where it's like you can only see so much of it, and it just makes you think like she could be anywhere. And her movements, they're scary, and the lighting also adds to that too. And it's there's a few moments where it's like your eyes adjust and you see something, or something's like in the background, which is always a really good scare.
I love when they do that.
They did that like in Hereditary and Long Legs, where like you might not even like notice something until like, you know,
it's too late.
Until it's too late. And this does that too. You know, you see her like walking behind the blinds a little bit, and it's subtle things like that are like really effective. And when she's in that corner, it also takes a little bit for your eyes to adjust. It's like when you're in your room and you see stuff and you think it's a person, but then it's just like,
yeah, I thought it was like a hoodie hanging up. Or
right,
something.
right, and then you see it, and it's like
it kind of made me jump a little bit.
Right, and there's no noise in that moment, but it makes you jump.
Those are my favorite types of jump scares, where it's just you scare yourself by seeing something.
Yeah,
The Oldest View. I will say I hate to make this comparison because I hated this movie. Actually, kind of similar to 2026's Lee Cronin's The Mummy in concept, like different, but also kind of the same. Where it's like a very now I'm spoiling a different movie, but like a very very desperate man / family gets a hint at love again. I guess not really love in The Mummy, but the reason I don't want to compare these movies is because The Mummy was garbage. That's a little spoiler-free review there. But, okay, I will say, I think my favorite scene in the entire thing was the scene with him and Ian where he tried to convince him to use the One Wish Willow. Because that was just so, like, tense and emotional. And I honestly thought when that happened that there was still, like, 30 minutes left in the movie. And really, there was like maybe 10. Like, but that dialogue between those two characters, and then like the expression on their faces when the money started falling from the ceiling was probably one of the like lowest points for me in a theater ever. Like I was crushed by that.
It was
crushing.
When he breaks that stick, it's like, oh my god, because that entire thing, you're like, come on, he's got to make the wish, right? He's got to make the wish, but he can't make that wish. If there was to be like one decision where it's like, maybe you could have done something different. It is. I would say it's after that happens, when Bear probably could have like not gone back to the house. Maybe, like
I agree.
Found some stranger on the
I
street to do it for him.
I do.
That is, I think, the one thing where it's like that was horror logic.
But I do agree. And that was one thing that I was like, okay, all right. But I'm willing to look past it because the scene that occurs is very good. That was like, I don't want to say this movie was tame because it very much was not. But like the last 30 minutes of this movie, like it took all of the potential that it had for scares and it just threw them all at you at the same time.
In a good way.
In a very good way. And the last 30 minutes was just shocking. I mean, like,
not shock value.
No,
because was just it's earned.
It is. But I think personally, I'm sorry. I feel like I keep bringing up everything, but I think personally, the sandwich scene.
Whew,
man.
So when I said in my spoiler-free section that there was a moment I locked in, it was a sandwich.
Yeah.
That was the moment where I was like, this movie.
I will be honest, when I heard that she packed his lunch, I was like, okay, she did something to it. I did not expect it to be the cat. Like, that was the last thing I expected. I expected her to, like, put something else, like, something gross in it, just, like, her hair or something. Oh, my God. I mean, okay. Cat stuff in movies, I love cats. I'm a huge cat person. Cat stuff gets me. And they really go crazy with the cat in this movie. There are several times where she at one point in the very beginning of the movie, and this is what I said in the spoiler-free section as well, that this movie hits you hard in the first like 10 to 15 minutes. Comes home, cat is dead on the ground. It's actually kind of for me it was like, oh, that's sad. And then she takes the cat out of the bag that he puts it in and makes a funeral for it on the ground. There's like flies swarming the cat. And then she feeds it to him. and it made me so uncomfortable because it looks so gross. But
I think they maybe could have gone honestly a little harder with his reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it was kind of like the reveal was so great, but I think he kind of brushed past it in a way. But
yeah,
and I still think that was like the first point of like, wow, that's insane.
yeah,
It wasn't like after a bunch of like really, really, really crazy stuff had happened. But it was still really good. I think my favorite singular moment though, I would say is probably on the very end. He's in the bathroom and he's gonna kill himself, right? And he takes a bunch of pills, which that was Chekhov's pill bottle because
Yeah.
they set that up very early.
See, I thought they were setting up a mirror jump scare, which was basic, but since they did it several times, I was like, okay, you kind of earn it. But they set it up even better.
Yeah. And then you hear the music and the breaking noise of the stick, and you just that like simple sound design, right? And this movie is also very good at like exposition and like show don't tell, right? Like there's not really bad dialogue
No.
where it like force feeds you what the characters are thinking or like what's happening. But that specific moment, like just those noises, you understand what happened and you're like your heart sinks and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, that's crazy. And I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect
And
it either.
I thought that reveal and the way that was executed was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I'm trying to think of like another standout moment. I mean, obviously, like this is the spoiler section, so I don't have to just like summarize the movie, but I'm just trying to think of like takeaway moments. I mean, I can confidently say, I mean, if you've made it this far, you've probably seen the movie. You probably also have this opinion, hopefully. I mean, never mind, not hopefully, whatever.
You can have whatever opinion.
You can have
It's
whatever
okay,
opinion you
it's
want.
okay.
But I think that this movie has solemnly landed on my personal favorite horror movies of the 2020s and maybe even the 2010s too.
I think that's reasonable. Like
And-
I would definitely put it as a top 5 horror movie of the decade so far.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I was beyond impressed, and I am so excited to see what else Curry Barker does, because this movie, the praise that we've had was not restricted to like the script or the acting. It was his directorial style was like one of the first things that I was like, yeah, that's really good. And so me personally, like, I'm so excited to see what he has planned for the future.
Oh, and this could have been a spoiler-free thing, but the way they balance tones is really good because the horror is, well, there's a lot of comedy, and the comedy works,
It works like 100% of the time.
but it doesn't take away from any of the horror, you know? And they're able to balance that really, really well. And there's some uncomfortable laughter. There's some moments where, like, should I be laughing? And that's not like a poor direction. That's like, it's
Yeah,
it's good.
There
It's
were a few
good.
times actually in the movie where I heard you kind of like chuckle to yourself, but like I could tell you weren't like laughing. You were like
It was like uncomfortable laughter.
Yeah.
It worked. I like that, the balancing of tones. And actually, Melkin Serial, Curry Barker's like probably first feature film. I don't know, but the one that got his name really out there, which you should watch. It's good. Also did that same thing where I did not expect that movie to be funny, but it was funny, and the horror still worked. So that's a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
That made it a little more unique, you know. And you know what? Maybe I'm honestly between a 4 and a 4.5.
I
gotta
mean,
be honest.
I gave it 5 stars, so I'm all in for
I'll probably do some listing on Letterboxd and see
Yeah.
where it ends up, but just know that it's a 4.25 if I could give it that.
Okay.
I would give it a 4.25. I will say the high rating on Letterboxd, I don't think it's unearned, but it does shock me considering what other movies in the genre have gotten.
yeah.
Now it will go down for sure because it's a brand new release, so it's got glaze right out of the gate. But movies like Strange Darling, for example,
3.5.
I think that's an amazing movie, and I would put it on the same tier. If like we were to do a tier list, I personally would put that on the same tier.
I would
as this movie.
put Obsession over it, but not by too much.
And that movie has a humble 3.5.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those similar movies kind of fall into that range. So I'm a little bit surprised, which is why I kind of was like, huh, because I don't exactly see like what separates this from those movies, if I'm being completely honest. And that's not
I
taking
think
away.
it's honestly, I think it's the just brutality of it.
It is.
Strange Darling is kind of tame in its violence and theming. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
So I think now that we've, just brought up multiple scenes and glazed it, I think, should we get into some more debatable stuff. Like,
Sure.
what do you think of the character of Bear
Sure.
or the moralities of each character? What did you think? Because this is almost a Robert Pattinson drama scenario where
Yeah.
it's like it's a character that you want to root for sometimes, and then other times it's like that's kind of weird behavior.
I mean, I definitely think it's weird, and I definitely think that he is morally cloudy at best. But at the end of the day, like I said, kind of in the spoiler-free section, I don't know if that was in the spoiler-free section, but like I feel like whenever you see like a genie in a movie or a hypothetical, one of the first things people wish for is love. And so I don't necessarily count it against him. I think it's like a weird societal thing that I don't personally share, where like, you know, at any cost love is love or whatever. I don't know. That sounds bad. I'm not saying anything non PG there. PC there. But yeah, like while I don't think it's a good decision, and I think it's a weird decision that he made, I also don't think that it makes him like a bad person, but it does make him definitely a little harder to root for at first. And it took me a while until like I was like actually rooting for him. Like I knew Nikki was going to change. I knew she was going to get like murdery, but for a while there, like I felt genuinely bad for her, and
Right, because
and during the bed scene,
right,
I felt really bad for her.
it is like it's that is like the most, I think, psychologically disturbing part of it is like the idea that which I did not expect this going in, but the idea that the real Nikki was like replaced with the fake Nikki, and like the real Nikki is trapped somewhere inside of her and like can't get out and wants to be killed so bad. Like the first scene they kind of hint at that is the phone call where he's like calling her and you can hear Nikki. That is like, I think the most like, I mean, there's other bodily sickening things that are like more like shocking, but that is like the most disturbing idea, I think. And you do feel really, really bad for her.
Yeah, it's like being a spectator in your own life.
Yeah. And then obviously having all these horrible things under your body because she like stabbed herself and stuff. And pooped her pants.
She did do that. The one scene where she like peed her pants was really effective, but man, that was
the gross out
rough.
Here. They don't just go gross out with blood. They
go gross out with almost every bodily liquid. Almost.
I mean, there's a few omissions.
Yeah.
Jacob Peterson, don't get too excited.
6 times lettuce.
But I would argue that this guy is definitely much more morally good than he is bad. Like, I think it's mostly excusable because there's no way that he would have anticipated that the wish would have even worked at all, right? It was mostly like a throwaway thing, like, oh, damn it, it didn't work. And then he's like breaking this thing, like, man, I wish he loved me. Like, obviously, it's like we can have, hindsight of 2020, right? So we can be like, because we know what the premise of the movie is, right? In his situation, it's a hard thing to get out of, as we can see, because she is so abrasive that it's like, what does he even do in that situation, But then it also kind of has like concepts in here of like him taking advantage of her, and his friend Ian also brings that up, like, oh, she's in a terrible mental state and you're taking advantage of that. And then he's like, no, like she's all over me. And I think that is like the morally questioning part, where it's like, that's something you see in real life,
Yeah, and the thing about it is like Ian didn't even know. Like he thought he was taking advantage of her for a completely different reason. And that's
because
why,
at first they think she's intoxicated.
Yeah, and that was the hardest part for me to excuse, was the whole like, is she even controlling herself? Does she even want any of this? And I think the movie did a really good job at like actually fleshing all that stuff out, as you said before, with like Nikki trapped inside, and there were a lot of scenes, and I think the scene like sitting at the table, or standing by the table, where he's like confronting her face to face. Does Nikki like me? Does the real Nikki like me? It really handled that topic really well.
Yeah, and it is like the very first scene, like right after he makes the wish, which I did not expect that to happen like immediately after. I thought they would build it up more and like stretch it out.
But I was happy they did.
Yeah, me too. But it's like There's clearly something wrong with her, and she's clearly not in the right state of mind to be, giving that kind of, consent, while keeping it, PG.
Yeah.
But whether she's intoxicated or like she's having a mental breakdown, but at the same time, and this doesn't fully excuse it, he wasn't trying to like, go with her at first. It took a lot of persuasion, and almost like she was kind of forcing him, like even grabbing onto him.
I kind of did forget about that. Like he genuinely did not want to do anything.
Right. So I think for that reason, it's like you can't fully fault him. Like, is it like fully inescapable? Like, was he like fully forced? No. Could it have gotten to that point though?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. The way that it was going, I mean, I could have definitely seen it going that way.
Yeah, in a way that they were both taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
In a way. And because, again, he had no idea that would happen, you can't fully blame him for making the wish.
Mm-hmm.
But I think still his flaw was the obsession. See, the girl was not the only one with the obsession, because in the beginning, before he makes that wish, he romanticized her, and he like idealized her, I guess, And
I think for me, that part was really sad to watch, because at least to me, like, it was so clear that she did not feel even remotely the same way, and he was just so incredibly like obsessed with her, and
obsessed with like the idea of her,
and all those scenes of them together were just like
hard to watch.
They were really hard to watch in a good way, in the same way that like the opening of what's it called?
Send Help
was hard to watch.
I was thinking that too. Yeah,
it was just cringe, but in a good way. It was so like I felt for him. I really did feel for him, because he honestly reminded me of myself a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
that way.
I think a lot of people, boys and girls, everybody can relate to that. I think a lot of people have had feelings for someone that were reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
We've might have been in that situation. Maybe
I can't relate.
Maybe not even romantic feelings.
Yeah, I'm lying. Sorry, go ahead, continue.
So it is like, it's not like, oh, this chud,
Yeah,
this stupid incel.
It's not me. Come on now.
But
it's not Jacob Peterson.
It is kind of like, you see the way that he's obsessing over her. You see the way that he's like, oh, that was a good Jacob Peterson.
Yeah,
joke.
sorry. Go ahead.
You see the way that he's like, obsessing over the idea of her, right? And it's like, that's a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mistake. That's what gets him into this whole mess. And I think that's a takeaway of this movie.
Mm-hmm. And I think another takeaway of this movie is the dynamic between him and Ian. Like, that's kind of more in the first part. I thought they were great on screen together. And I know the actor who played Ian, he was in a lot of like comedy sketches, and I know he's in Milk and Cereal, but he was in a lot of sketches with Curry Barker. He killed it. I mean, he was great. And also kind of had a pretty realistic reaction to all of it. Like, he was fully like rooting for him at the beginning, and then he was like so rooting against him by the end. And I thought that performance was really well done.
Yeah, what do you think about his relationship-ish with Nikki? Because I would like to sit here and say that I understood the point of that plot point, but I didn't really fully understand. What did you take away from that?
I think I took like it in the same way that Sarah said that Nikki was like playing a game with Bear. I think it was all just like because I think Ian was not a good person. Like at the end of the day, like he was not a very good person and not a very good friend. And I think it just shows the desperation of Bear, that like no matter what he was doing, he could have never gotten with Nikki anyway, because she was already getting with Ian. And Ian, knowing that, still told him to pursue her. And
yeah, I think my thought is that it showed his ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was completely ignorant to the fact that there was something between Nikki and Ian, because he didn't like want to see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just blinded by the way that he felt about Nikki, right? And the way that he saw her, that he didn't fully see her, you know? And he was almost like getting in the way of Ian and Nikki, and without even noticing it. And I think that shows that like he was not as connected with them as he might have hoped to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining that exactly correctly. But
It's hard to explain character dynamics, especially without a script, because that's the way we do it here.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think that if that was to be another huge takeaway, maybe the main theme is about maybe a metaphor of the horrors of finding out who someone really is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who they are beneath, because, the closer they got, the more and the more codependent they got, which is kind of like the movie Together. Reminded me kind of.
It did remind me of
same
Together.
same codependency themes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Similar.
Which is, I think, something people can relate to.
Yeah, I think it's a relevant theme.
Yeah, and I'd never seen it really talked about until Together, and I think this was personally like an even better take. I think Together was great. I actually did like this movie better, though.
I think that it's both. I mean, I'm not like a genius for saying this. I think they're both a metaphor for codependency.
Yeah.
And I think like also the idea of the real Nikki being trapped inside the fake Nikki kind of shows like the sacrifices people make during relationships. They almost like lose a part of themselves to become a whole, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the big metaphor to the film that I thought was pretty clever.
Yeah.
The way that was, like I said, a very disturbing horror thing, but also a metaphor.
Just a disturbing aspect of life.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to bring up something you said in the car that I hadn't even thought about,
go ahead.
which is that, do you mind?
Go ahead.
Obsession could be part of a franchise about the One Wish Willow, which I hadn't even thought about. But now I really like that idea because
We see a hint of it when Ian asks for $1 billion.
Yeah.
We don't really get into the consequences of that because he does get shot in the head.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
But I said to Ollie, because we actually did not share any thoughts.
Yeah, I did
this.
not know his opinion until a few minutes ago.
Right.
Even in the out of theater reaction thing.
That was all that we heard from each other was the out of theater reaction.
Yeah.
So I said this would be a good anthology series. Obviously this story it ended, but I think there's more stories to be told with the One Wish Willow thing. Right?
I agree.
And I think a different wish each time.
The counter knew like there was something up. Like I think they were. I don't necessarily like. I think it's clear to me when movies are hinting at sequels, and while I don't think this movie was hinting at a sequel, I also
It's
don't
not
think
likely.
it wrote it off
Right.
entirely because like there was some foreshadowing that the cashier also made a bad wish because he was like, Bear was like, oh yeah, I wished for her to love me and now she's obsessed with me. The cashier was like, oh, that's not that bad.
And he literally said I already made my wish.
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
he was trying to say like, no, you snap it for me. And he was like, oh, I already made my wish.
Yeah.
And
so I think there's a lot of potentially room to explore a different story, which
new themes,
which I've learned now from Smile 2, sometimes unnecessary seeming sequels, they're good. I think Smile 2 was really good.
One Wish Willow anthology. Curry Barker, if you're watching this, hop on it. Maybe hire us. Maybe.
I mean,
You saw
watch
Return to
Return to
Sender.
Sender, then maybe give us a call. I mean, I don't have like I don't know. Is there much else to say?
That last shot. I like the music choice in the end. That was cool.
I was expecting a gunshot. I'm gonna be honest.
I was like, that's kind of a lame way to end that if they do the
Yeah.
gunshot like they both committed suicide. How poetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's kind of stupid. I liked the visual of her like coming back.
Oh yeah. That was so well acted too.
It was so good. And also, her sitting there and she's screaming and she sees Bear on the floor. Did you notice that mirrored a shot early in the film? It's the same exact shot as Bear walking in on his cat dead, right? And it's the same, like
also
he makes the
foaming
same
from the
noises.
mouth.
Exactly, foaming from the mouth. It perfectly mirrors. So that's what I said when in the spoiler. No, it wasn't even spoiler free. When I said things come full circle, that was a full circle moment.
I did not pick up on that.
And I think there is probably a lot to be explored there that will hit me a bit later. Maybe the way that we objectify our partners, the way that it was a pet that died and now it's him because he was almost a pet to her.
That's pretty genius.
I know I caught that.
Yeah. Wow. You just
Point
shocked
after.
me.
Well, I'm glad. That's cool. That's what these reviews are for.
Yeah.
Maybe you have something to share that you picked up on that we were oblivious to.
Yeah, because if you've made it this far, you've watched the movie.
Yeah. And maybe we picked up on something that you didn't. And
Maybe you learned something.
that's the beauty of this. All right.
I could see myself rewatching this movie very soon.
I think so. I think I probably wouldn't watch it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But if my friends wanted to see it, I would go just to see their reactions. Which they wouldn't be watching this right now because they wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah,
But they know.
they know.
All right.
We're gonna not do a 3-minute outro this time. We're gonna do a. No, I don't know how long is this outro gonna be. Maybe like 1 minute. Maybe like 30 seconds. If you made it this far, drop a like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks
And
for watching.
See Obsession.
See Obsession.
You already saw it.
And see Return to Sender. And Amateur Hour and the Greenlight Studio Show. Cut the camera.